March 25th, 2019. Top 10 questions about growing microgreens for profit. Growing microgreens for profit can be a great way to turn your gardening skills into a solid income from selling your microgreen crop to local grocers, individuals, and restaurants. Microgreens became popular 20 years ago. California chefs started growing and using them to add bling to their garnishes and salads. The popularity has continued to grow. What is a microgreen? A microgreen are tiny edible plants that are older than a sprout but younger than a full-grown plant. Microgreens are harvested after the first true leaves have developed. The true leaves are after the first leaves, which are called the water leaves. So it's the leaves right after the water leaves, the first leaves. They are the smallest of salad greens, can be grown from almost any plant variety that would produce a mature plant, such as a beet, radish, or mustard. What is the difference between sprouts and microgreens? Because of their size, microgreens are often confused with sprouts. They are not sprouts. Sprouts are just germinated, grown in water, and are eaten whole with the seed, root, and stem still attached. Microgreens are not grown in water, as are sprouts. They are commonly grown in soil or on a sterile growing mat such as a fiber mat. This is what I'm doing. I'm using a fiber mat, people. And I'm not going to use soil because it's messy, it's heavier. And say you have a client, that you establish a client, and they want you to bring a tray in and leave it, and then bring some new ones in next week and pick up your old trays. It'll just be a mess. So just use the mats. The seed density for microgreens is much lower than for sprouts, which also allows plenty of room for each tiny plant to grow and prevents disease problems common to sprouts. Yeah, if you stick something in water, submerge it in water and grow it that way, it's bound to get some waterborne disease. You know that. Microgreens are harvested by cutting without any roots. So you cut them at the stems. You don't pull the roots. Can I grow microgreens in my area climate? Unlike most crops, microgreens can be grown almost anywhere, even during winter in northern climate zones. Because microgreens take so little space, it is practical and profitable to grow them indoors when weather conditions don't permit outside growing. Right now I have a little indoor greenhouse. I'm using grow lights. I'm powering those grow lights with solar and wind power. And basically, I have to grow indoors because nothing's going to grow with 2 feet of snow out the door. Okay? That's just all there is to it. What are the best plants to grow is microgreens. Because microgreens are widely used to add zing to a main course or salad, the most popular varieties are the spicy ones. These include arugula, which adds spicy, peppery flavor to foods, basil, celery, cabbage, cilantro, and a widely used spicy herb, endive, mustard, and tangy radish. I heard the radishes are good, and I can't wait to try them because I planted some. In addition to popular spicy microgreens, growers will also produce a wide range of colorful greens such as rainbow chard or kale. You can have the kale. I hate that stuff, but I'll probably have to grow it anyway because if I am going to sell it, it's one of the most popular microgreens around. How much money can microgreen business make? Because the crop cycle is so short, commercial growers can make a good income in a very small space. Most microgreen varieties are ready to harvest in about 2 weeks, some in 8 days, some in 18 days. So a capable grower can produce 20 to 25 crops per year by stacking the growing channels or trays vertically 4 times as much as they can be produced in the same space. Well, I've got some racks that are 4 foot wide. They're perfect for putting a couple trays on and per shelf. And I bought a 20-foot greenhouse by 7. And so I'll be able to put 5 racks on each side and 2 trays on each shelf. That's eight trays per shelf, 80 trays at a time. So I should be able to grow 80 trays at a time outside in the greenhouse. At $25 a pound, that's a lot of money And they say here that most growers report an average harvest of 5 to 6 ounces of microgreens per single tray, which is a 10 by 20. So that means that 2.5 trays is 1 pound. So 2.5 trays is 1 pound, and I'm going to grow basically 180 trays per wall, 80 trays per greenhouse. Well, you do the math, and that's quite a few pounds in 1 week or 2 weeks, doesn't it? Think about it. Takes 2.5 trays, 80 trays. Well, I don't know. We could do the math here. I'm just too tired to do it, but let's do it. Let's just calculate it right now. If I grew 80 trays and I divide that by 2.5 to make a pound of microgreens, that's 32 pounds of microgreens per every 2 weeks, at an average of $25 a pound. $800. Not bad, huh? So, are special seeds needed or required for microgreens? Yes, microgreens are untreated seeds, preferably organic. Better get organic, non-GMO, because honestly, that's what your customer is going to look for. That are the same seeds used to grow full-size plants. As the plant are grown much closer together, it takes more seed to grow microgreens than field-grown crops. That's why purchasing seeds from a wholesale source is a must for profitability. And so when we talk about that, I go to True Leaf Market over here. Pull this up someday. Nice slow internet today. I go here to buy my microgreens, and let's just explore that a little bit. If you click on this right here, take you right over to the microgreens. You can get a growing kit like I did to start with, or seed assortments, and you can also get the supplies. Now the little mats right here, the fiber mats, we'll go into that in a minute, but you can see right here that they have all kinds of seeds. This is what I tried to grow, but I didn't use distilled water, and I found out tap water didn't work out so well. But for $7.79, you can get 1 pound of speckled peas for $7.79. Now they do have a minimum, I believe, of $45, $50 per order for free no shipping charges. But you know, if it was me, if I was going to grow these in bulk quantity, I think I'd go for a 50-pound bag. Because if you look at that, 50-pound bag, that you're looking at a lot lower cost than per pound. If you're looking right here for a pound, $7.79, you'll get 50 pounds. You take that number. We'll just go ahead and do the math for you. And it comes out to $2.65.5 a pound. So you're saving, if you add that to the actual cost of this per pound in the starter, you're going to save $5.13 a pound. Now I call that a savings, don't you? So you may start out with maybe a 1 pound bag of seeds, which I'm going to do. Find out which ones I want to grow, which ones I need to grow for a micro business, and then when I find out the ones and I can get the clientele for it, I will definitely know the numbers that I will need to make money selling these microgreens or eating them or just growing them myself. I planted some of these, and these are pretty expensive, but you got to remember these seeds are a little more expensive. There's radishes and everything else. You can buy everything here. And you look at a 25-pound bag of these Detroit red beets, and they're kind of costly. $172 for a 25-pound bag. So they're a lot more expensive to grow. But if you look at the hydroponic kit that I bought, okay, and this is what I bought, and it comes with the fiber mats. Okay, they give you 10 of them. They give you 6 bags of seeds at 4-ounce seeds. So you get 2.5 pounds of seeds to begin with, which is worth the $56. Plus you get free shipping if it's over 45, I believe. You get the spray bottle, you get a bunch of trays, you get the stuff on how to use it. And basically, I think that's the best way to go. So the True Leaf Market does have good seeds, and I'm sure if you wanted even higher quantity of seeds, you could call them, and you could actually make a deal for a lot less for the price of the seeds. So back to what we were talking about. So basically, you get $25 per pound. You figured out that 2.5 trays is going to give you a pound on the average of microgreens. Okay, are special seeds required for microgreens? We talked about that. What kind of soil does microgreens require? Well, I will grow these hydroponically, and I'm going to use the fiber mats. But they say it's easier for people to start out with soil. Okay, but one of the things that I am going to tell you is that I will probably use Azomite and mix a teaspoon of that into a gallon of distilled water. Do not use tap water because it will kill your peas and your greens, because I tried it, it didn't work. It killed the peas, and I had to start over, and I lost a pound of peas, which is really sad. But Azomite and distilled water. One teaspoon of Azomite into a gallon of distilled water, and then you can spray them maybe once or twice a week with that fertilizer, along with just regular distilled water. When should microgreens be harvested? Most microgreens are ready to harvest when they have produced at least a second generation of leaves, known as true leaves. Okay, that's right after the first leaves, which are called water leaves. The second leaves are the true leaves. You can let them continue to grow and produce them as baby greens, which I might do also. Do microgreens have special nutritional value? Oh yeah. Studies have shown that many microgreens such as red cabbage, broccoli, and radish often contain up to 40 times more nutrients than mature plants, according to Professor Quinn Wang at the University of Maryland. So in other words, they're 40 times better for you than store-bought stuff. And the store-bought stuff has very little nutritional value. It's mostly water. And plus, you don't get all those pesticides. If you need to put some pesticides on them, you can use Diatomaceous earth. That's all natural. You just spray it on with the sprayer, and that will kill the insects. It will actually dehydrate them, and it's non-toxic to humans or animals. You can spray it on your pets. Also use it on your pets to de-lice them and everything else. So you don't have to use those dangerous chemicals on your pets. And all these nutrients are extremely important for skin, eyes, and fighting cancer, and have all sorts of benefits associated with them. To find these high level of nutrients, I find that quite astonishing. I did too when I read into this. How much does it cost to start up a microgreen business? Because growing microgreens does not require expensive equipment like tractors and tillers, the startup cost can be affordable, as low as just a few $100s. Well, you saw the kit I just showed you for $56. You can start that way if you really need to, right? Grow a couple trays, sell them to your neighbors, you know. Some of those 4-ounce bags of seeds have enough seeds in it to actually probably make about 10 to 20 trays of microgreens. So you figure that out, and when you start figuring out how many seeds it takes to actually grow the greens, and you saw the breakdown of cost, you can pretty much figure out you're probably going to make money either way. So even indoor growers can use low-cost fluorescent lights fixtures to keep costs down, and outdoor growers can build a basic hoop. I'm getting it. I got a 20-foot greenhouse, 7 by 20, and it only costs me a couple $100. It's got the heavy-duty snap-together frames, and I've got the stakes to really nail it down to the ground because I got some wind out here. And like I said, we figured it out. I could grow 80 trays of food inside of that on 10 shelves, 10 four-level shelves. So I think it's a pretty good idea. And one thing you might want to think about, what happens if we have some major natural disaster in the world or right here at home and stuff hits the fan? Say the power grid goes down. Now we're in trouble, right? Well, it takes 18 months to rebuild those transformers, the big ones to go, and there's a lot of them that would, if those went down with a coronal mass ejection from the sun, which is basically, think of it as an electronic tsunami. You know what a tsunami does, right? It gradually builds up and builds up and builds up. The energy is so high that it actually will burn out wires, electronic devices, especially solid state devices. The only thing that's going to survive is analog devices. Um, and they say, well, we'll be out of power for a year and a half. You know, society will break down. Well, guess what? Um, but if the food stops coming for 2 or 3 months, or it goes, we had a war, forbid anything bad happen, people, you have a bunch of seeds if you need to grow food. And you can grow food in a hurry in a couple of weeks instead of waiting. Because if you don't have 3 to 6 months to find food to eat, and you can get by for a couple of weeks or even a month before you get these things growing and you have plenty of seeds, you'd be much better off than most people around your neighborhood, because most of them don't have even 2 weeks of food in the house. I grew up as a Mormon, so I have about 2 years worth of food, but most of you don't. You've been warned.